Okay, everybody, welcome back again. Now we're going to figure out what to do with the answer that we get after getting it. Now, notice that the BLN answer actually should be changed because we have to have it returns a number. So we're going to name it int answer as integer. Wrong. Integer. And then I'm going to say int answer equals something. Now I want to know what the user is getting. So I'm going to use a little thing called a breakpoint to find out what the user is giving me to be able to give an accurate answer to whatever they got. So, well, actually, I'm going to use a message box to tell me. Message box int answer. So I'm using the message box in two different ways here. First, to get an answer from the user, and then one to give the answer back. So I'm going to run this by pressing F5. Say yes or no. 1, 6. Okay, so I know yes equals 6. Now the other item no should be 5. No. Oh, 7. Sorry, 7. Okay. So now I know that yes is going to be 6 and y is going to be 7. So I could say, and we're going to learn about this, learn the fundamentals of the select case later on. Select case int answer case 6 or 6 case 7. Again, if you don't get it, we're kind of going to go over this a little bit later in the future lesson. Message box, yes. Message box. It kind of gives you a little bit better idea of what the user asked or what the user responded with. No. Let's make that more clear. User says no. And then let's see, user says yes. Okay, select case, yes or no. Yes. User says yes. You say yes or no. User says no. Okay. So kind of simplistic, but you could do it. You could put based on their response. You could have the procedure do one thing or the other thing based on whether it's a yes or no. Do you want to continue? Yes or no? Well, continue if it's yes, or cancel it if it is no. Okay. Now the other box to create to get input, it gives you a little bit more. It doesn't return a value, but it returns whatever your user input is. It's called the input box. Okay, so I want to go ahead and show you the input box right quick. So greeting, let's say I want to go ahead and say this is test. Excuse me. Dim str answer, because I do want it. I want to make sure that I don't have an error with this. So I'm going to say str answer. So they put it. I'm really asking for I could modify this answer and make it into an integer later on if I want to, but just be on the safe side. I don't know what the user can give me, so I'm going to be safe and sorry. So my answer is going to be str answer. Answer. Again, I'm going to instantiate this. Okay, str answer equals input box. Now input box. Okay, my prompt, number of books. And then my title is going to be, enter, let's see, the title bar, enter book quantity. Enter book quantity. Then my default value is going to be, it's whatever I want. Well, I'm going to leave that off right now. I'll show you what that is later on. So the input box looks a little bit like this. And notice I have my title at the top, enter book quantity, title of the box, but I have nothing in here, but I can enter whatever I want in here. Okay? Now what if a user types in all this just to be funny? Well, it's not real funny, but they could potentially type it in there, but you have to be, as a programmer, you're supposed to be able to handle this, handle the error. So here I'm going to say okay, and then my program keeps going because I'm not really checking for anything right now. So I type in all this stuff, then click cancel. It doesn't do anything. So message box, it's your answer. Tell me the answer, whatever they plugged in here. 0 is that. Okay. Now, if I want a 3, if I say 3 books, number of books, well, that should say, okay, well, it should hint at, okay, I'm looking for a value. 3 books. 3 books. Okay. Now, that leads me to this other argument, which is called the default. Okay, default. Okay, 0. So, now notice that I have 0 in place. Okay, so 0. If they click cancel, then I'm gonna get kind of a value back. Or I'm not gonna get an error back. I'm kind of leading them to make the decision. Okay, it has to be a 0. So I'm doing kind of a mental leading. Now it's gonna be 5. So they changed their 0 to 5. 5. Okay, so that is the input box. Input box. Okay, now we're going to go on to a variable lifetime. Okay, what is the life of a variable? Like, for instance, as your answer, the life of the variable is it's seen within this here procedure. So within the test procedure, as your answer lives within the test procedure. So that here, this your answer, it's a dimension, then you give it, and then it disappears. It's gone. So the life, it's kind of like a person's life. They're born, they live, and they die, whenever that may be. So you have a certain lifetime that you live. Now, in a program 2, the variable has a certain life. The variable is born at the dim, or whenever it's instantiated, sorry, whenever it's instantiated. So we plan the variable. The variable lives, it's born, it lives, and it goes away, it dies. That's it, at the end sub. Okay, we could put, if we want this variable to live farther than this, we could say dim as your answer as, we could put it up here, outside of the procedure. That means this is called a module level variable. And to differentiate that between that means any procedure in this module can use that particular variable, can use m as your answer. I'm going to prefix it with m underscore to kind of differentiate that, make it a module level variable. So MS your answer is now this, and then I can say it's going to be used down here as well. So sub test 2, then I'm going to make it something different here. M is your answer equals 3. Okay, it knows to use this variable in this procedure and this procedure. Okay, I can use this variable and this procedure and this variable. So this variable can either be a module level or it could be a procedure level. Procedure module or procedure level. So get that. Using expressions. Now, expressions are a fundamental part of many access operations. An expression is a combination of symbols, identifiers, operators, and values that produce a result. Okay, so we have an expression that produces a result. Identifiers include variable names, form fields, unbound controls, any other objects that contain a value. So any object that contains a value is an expression. Okay, well, actually they can be used in an expression. So the identifier is used within the expression. Expressions can take on the following forms: arithmetic, string, assignment, or comparisons. So we have arithmetic expressions like addition. Okay, so we can say dim. Let's say dim. Excuse me again. Dim int number 1 as integer. Dim int number 2 as integer. Excuse me again. Wow. And then dim int answer as integer. So I'm going to say, now I don't know what int number 1 is, but because I haven't assigned it yet. So int 1 plus int 2 equals my answer. Okay, this is an expression. Int. Did I put a plus sign here? No. Int. Oh, I did. Look at that. So int 1. Oh, it's thinking I have an equal sign here. So I'm going to remedy that by putting a parenthesis around it. Ooh. Ah, that's why. Because I'm doing it by what I would think to do it, or think it not programmatically. I would say, okay, int 1 plus int 2 equals my answer. Well, now you gotta think of it programmatically. It'd be the other way around. Int answer equals int number 1 plus int number 2. Okay, and now you learn something new. Look at that. Okay, so int answer is int number 1, int number 2. So, and then you have another expression, int answer number 2. Int answer times int number 2. Notice this little asterisk, this multiply. You learned that probably in the school. They had the asterisk instead of the times, the x. So divided by. This is kind of useful, the modulus. Okay. Modulus gives you a remainder. So you have division, and I'm going to type this out here, division and remainder. Okay, division and remainder. Sometimes you want to get the division of numbers. Sometimes you just want to get the remainder. Now, and one thing I was doing, I wanted to just get the remainder. So I was like, well, I don't want to just do that. It was reverse to this. If the 3 divided by 1 gives me a remainder. As well as give me an error. So 3 divided by 1 gives me a remainder. I'm gonna ram it out by putting a little apostrophe in front of it. 3 divided by 2 gives me a remainder. 3 divided by 3 doesn't give me a remainder. Okay. So if I do 3 mod 1, it, like I said, it gives me a remainder. Mod 2, 3 mod 3 remainder equals, in this instance, remainder equal to something. I don't know. Maybe, I think it equals 1. I don't know what it does, but you have to figure that out. But so remainder equals 1. The point is remainder equals 0. So then you have 3 divided by, or 6 divided by 3 gives you a remainder, but 5 divided by 3 doesn't. Somebody is going to need that, because I know I did. So the mod operator gives you the remainder. Remember, remainder, mod operator. Okay. So the operator precedence. Okay, remember order of operation. So we have, again, so answer. You do the numbers in parentheses first, and then you do your other stuff. So your order operation, anything goes in parentheses goes first. So you get the sum of this first, and then you multiply by 12. Okay, it's math. Order of operation. If you don't know what order of operation is, you gotta Google it. Okay, but order of operations. Otherwise, if you don't have the parentheses here, okay, where's my cursor at? If you don't have your parentheses here, the priority one is going to be the 12. It's going to be the multiplication. It's going to be this. Okay, so that's multiplied by that. So you have multiplication which takes precedence over it. So string expressions, sometimes you want to put a name. Let's see. Let me do this. So we have dim. We'll take this out because it's confusing. Dim strf name as first name. So dim str. Some of y'all are jumping ahead and saying, "Oh, I know what he's doing." Str last name, dim str full name. We get the point. Okay. So str f name equals Mary, Mary, and this is L name equals Jane. Okay, all you don't think Mary Jane, you may be thinking to the back of your mind this. So your F name, this is clean. Okay, so I'm going to combine or concatenate F name with L name and come up with my full name. So I have my F name, ampersand, open quote, close quote, and then another one of my ampersands here. Sorry, I'm typing all over the place. I got a fat finger all over the place. So that's why I like to copy and paste. Esther full, message box, Esther full. Okay, so here I've declared my variables. Here I'm instantiating them. Esther full. Then my end result should be this: Mary Jane. Okay, so that is your string expression example. String expression. You could also have a, let's see, how about putting a value, a number, and an expression. So we have int quantity. And I'm going ahead and saying I want this to be an integer. And this is going to be my comment. So I'm still going to leave full here. int quantity is 8. So say they order a lot of books. Okay, they're like a superstar customer. Your comment ordered, let's say, books ordered. I want to say, okay, here are 8 books ordered. Now notice I put a space in here for a purpose, so I'm going to do this. So I'm going to include my space there. Now I say 8 books ordered. Okay. You may want to take a value from my database and say 8 variables could be anything. That means you can say int quantity equals 8, or it may equal 3, it may equal 4, it may equal 9. You may not know what it means, but it means a variable. It may loop through the database and they pull out certain values and then display them on the screen or for a report or something. Okay. So that is your string expressions. Now assigning expressions. Okay. Assignment, like greater than or less than. Okay, we may have greater than. We may have less than. We have equal to. We have equal to. We may have one number being less than or equal to, or the opposite, greater than, equal to, or not equal to. Okay, so these variables things, and they're all different comparison expressions. And then we have logical comparison features. So if you may want to say, well, if you may want to compare your input. Okay, so let me say if your input equals whatever the input box is. So we have str input. Let's see what it is first. Oh, by the way, red means you have an error, so we're gonna fix that up in just a moment here. Str input equals input box, and then enter a value. You kind of lead the people on, lead the people to the right answer. So if they type enter a value if str input equals 300, then message box 300, else message box not. Okay, so enter value 1, not. So enter value finally. Okay, it's gonna be 300. So it's 300. So it's 5 again. 4, not. It's not 300. 366, not. If it's 301, then it's not. If it's 300, it's equal. Yes, it's 300. Okay, sometimes you want to make it greater than or equal to. So if it's greater than or equal to 300. So if it's 299, what happens? Not. If it's 300 equals yes. And if it's 301 equals yes. Okay? So that is those are your logical comparison expressions. Okay, logical comparison expressions. Okay, we're going to take a break and then come back, and we're going to look at it. We're going to look at doing it, looking at working with variables. So stay tuned. Do want you to come back, and do want you to see this next and do it for yourself. Bye.